So today's session is just about getting an update on where everybody's at with their federation work. We're going to do this slightly differently today. I'm going to ask everybody, or each of the nations, to at least give some sort of verbal update of what they're doing in their federation space. And if it's nothing, they'll just like to hear you say, we're not doing anything. That would be as good as saying you're doing something. It would at least give us an indication of that there's no activity happening in your country. And we can then focus on that. If there is activity, that's great. Just want to know what's happening. I'm not looking for a really big presentation, just a verbal update if you've got one. But if you also have a presentation, that would be great as well. And if you could share that with us so we can then make it available after the workshop or the conference for everyone to view if they so choose. We also have our friends from Orchid. We've got Estelle, who will be giving us a presentation after our break at 11 o'clock, 11:30, if we get that far. If we don't get that far, then we'll just have Estelle do her presentation. She's after about 15 minutes for that thing, so we'll see where we can slot that in. So that's my next slide, Federation updates, which is all about today, a verbal or presentation, if you have one. Looking for you to share your experiences, technologies, knowledge, and innovations. This is about both all of any work happening in the Eduroam space, any work happening in the Identity Federation space, or any work happening connecting to EduGain and what's happening. We may or may not have a break depending on how many people we have doing the presentations and how long they take. And then we'll have Orchid infrastructure to improve trust, identity, and recognition. And we'll finish off the day with just an update from myself about what's happening tomorrow, which will be a training day. We'll be looking at Federation basics and Federation operators, what their function is in the Federation space. And this is in preparation for our face-to-face activity that's coming up in Singapore. So, how many we got? 26 people, I think. I'm going to stop sharing now. That screen. And I'm going to ask for a volunteer to be the first off for giving a Federation or NREN update on what you're doing in the Federation space. It's gone all dark. Otherwise, I'm going to start picking people. Any volunteers? Hands up. Who wants to go first? How about we start with Brooke Schofield? Let's have a Federation update from Brooke.
Hello all. So yeah, Brooke no longer responsible for Federation, only doing iFireXman and other projects. But I've also submitted some Azure Connect call grants for the targeted call to try and do a file sender service. And that will require a default identity provider because it turns out there's approximately 18,000 institutions in the Asia APAC region, and less than 1,200 of them actually have access to an identity provider. So while we're doing great work within TFIAM and the iFireXman project to try and overcome those issues, and we know that you need advice, guidance, and support in completing that set, we don't have a good idea of how important those institutions are. So I actually have some students at UTAS that are working on that to try and get us an idea of where the gaps are in identity provision in the region and how important those institutions are. Important based on other people's metrics for important, right? It's obviously always important for everyone because you can't participate in some services if you don't have access to identity providers. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing interesting things within TFIAM, within the iFireXman project, which you'll hear more about on Wednesday, and some other projects to try and supplement that. And there are some countries in the region, in fact, many countries in the region outside of Asia Connect. How many in total? 22, is this right? I think it's 22. It's either 22 or 32. Let me do the math in my head. I think it's actually 32 in the Asia Pac region that aren't parts of Asia Connect. And so I have 2 grant proposals within the ISIF.Asia program. It's funded predominantly by APNIC Foundation to try and get 2 more economies participating in our activities. Because while TFIAM is open to all, you need the resources to be able to participate. And that can actually be quite difficult for some nations. So yeah, hopefully we'll be getting a much wider and more diverse group of people in coming meetings. And that's about all from me. And so some of those results will actually be presented at the NorDoNet conference in Iceland later next month. And references will be posted to TFIAM mailing lists.
Will this be Brooke under his new company persona?
It probably won't be. It will still be this space for rent. So I'm willing to take all offers of money or employment. But at the moment, I'm still enjoying doing what I want. With the downside, it comes with less money. So. But that's a useful trade-off. And so for those who don't know, because it's been a while since we've met, I guess I'm still on the island state of Tasmania. It's not as sunny as the background picture. It is a gloomy day today. And unfortunately, TasNetworks, the power company, are connecting power to a new home across the street. I do not know if this means I'll lose power today.
They're pretty good, the electricity people, getting the power in.
Yeah, but it's 100-kilometre-hour winds today, and these guys
right.
are in a cherry. I mean, they repair stuff in storms, but you would think you wouldn't do something voluntarily that's less mission critical on a day like today.
Yep. Okay, thanks, Brooke. That's the sort of thing we're looking for, just a verbal update if you've got one from everybody. So I'm going to now pick our next volunteer, which will be Jinan from NREN in Nepal. Welcome, Jinan.
Thank you so much.
If you could just give us what's happening in Nepal with regards to both EduRoam and your Identity Federation work. I know you're sending a team or a couple of folk to the iFireXman project. So what's your expectations?
We are EduRoam is a good implement in Nepal. Where we are trying to establish EduRoam connection in Tribhuvan International Airport. So we began communication with CAN, Civil Aviation. With this regards, many more university will also connect EduRoam connection. So this would be great way for EduGain will continue work together.
So will the airport be EduRoam enabled by next year for the APAN 55, I think we're at?
Yeah, we plan for APAN 55, yeah.
It'd be good to come into the airport and have EduRoam available for me when I arrive.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Especially, The first time I turned up to your airport, I had failed to pay attention to the need for a visa. And I had to go through the more lengthy paperwork of doing it in the airport than turning up prepared. So yeah, having internet access would be useful also. It might be a simpler process now.
Yeah.
So is there any activity with regards to identity federations happening in Nepal yet?
Yeah, currently we are planning need to make a policy. So we will work after this event. We'll work in NREN members team, members engineers for implement identity federation.
So you're working on your federation policy, which is good to hear.
Yeah.
It might be useful to bring that a copy of your federation policy to the event in Singapore, so we can help you review it and get it moving forward for you.
Yeah. It will be helpful.
Okay, thanks, Niranjan.
Yeah.
Good update.
Yeah.
Have you got any of your other team here today? No, he's gone. Okay, who have we got next? Who'd like to go next? I've got Hansen. I'll ask you to unmute. So the person Hansen, H-A-S-A-N, do you want to show yourself and tell us where you're from? Maybe we can have a look at the list. Hansen. Question mark. Oops. Okay. Okay, next I've got Sieng, S-I-E-N-G from Cam or Cambodia, I assume that is. Let's get on with what options we got.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes.
So could you tell us, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Could you tell us what's happening in your country with regards to federation activity, or if there's nothing happening?
Maybe can I move this to Mr. Ketuka because I'm IT support from him.
Okay, is he here today? Or is he...
Because he know about this more than me.
Yes, hello everybody. Hello Thierry and Brock.
Hello,
Can you hear
how's it
me?
going? It's good to have you guys back on board. We haven't seen you guys for a while, I don't think. And
Because previously your schedule is overlap with my health, so sometimes I go to hospital and then cannot join. Sorry for that.
that's all right.
Yeah. Basically, for the IAM in our institute right now, and what we have done so far is we try to integration with the Office 365 because mostly right now our school and the other school in Cambodia, they are moving to all using Office 365. So the requirement from the university and from us also, they do not want to use multiple login with another application. Let's say we have a C application, so we need to use separate account. It is very hard for them. So I think it's still a challenge for us because, as you know, Office 365 is hard to do the integration on this part. Hopefully, maybe there is some of our team in here. I can say a team or from another country that maybe they already implement that one. Hopefully they can share with it how we can use with the Office 365. Yeah.
Right, I know that Farhan from Malaysia.
Hello, good morning. Sorry, came late. Just come back from a trip from Penang yesterday. Yeah, we do have a good story integration between. Actually, it's not really Office 365. It's actually Azure AD with Identity Federation, either AD as the IDP or Shibboleth as the IDP. We have both use success story for both cases,
Good.
which I will share later.
Okay, thank you so much for this one.
Yeah, welcome.
And beside the identity and SDP, we already implement the EDROM. I think that is in another schedule. So we will talk on that more later on the EDROM later.
Right, so you did Jerome with the ARNet project. What was that called? The ZEEP project.
Yes, XAP.
Yeah, XEAP, I think it was. That was run a few
Yeah,
years ago now.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for your update. It's good to see what's
Yeah.
happening in Cambodia.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next I've got Yasui or Yasawa from Japan, Kyoto University.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. This is it has passed several years since I have joined the last APAN. So I am almost a newcomer, but I worked in APAN community almost 15 years ago, and as the first chair of currently identity and the IAM working group. So, and the current activity in Japan is represented by ASAP Sakane joined together. So details will be provided by ASAP. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I know Japan's been doing Identity Federation for a long time now, longer
Yes.
than we have in Australia. So.
And details will be presented by ASAP Sakane.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's jump to Pensri from Thailand. Good morning.
Morning, everyone. So for Thailand, Thailand Research and Education Network Thailand, we just becoming educate members with our Thai IDF, Thailand Identity Federation. So we just have our first tutorial on with the university, which is the under the Uninet workshop. We have quite only a few people attending that tutorial, around 7 to 9, something like that. But I think we have a good start, and we hope that we will have this kind of tutorial for the next workshop of university again. So we normally have like twice a year this kind of workshop or event, but during the COVID situation, it has been like postponed, and this one is the first face-to-face meeting that we organize or we held. So regarding the EduRoam started long time ago in Thailand. So currently they have like more than 80 IDPs and ISP in the federation. So we have two separate federation, one for EduLoan, and the new one is under EduGain. So we need to discuss in among ourselves about this too. But yeah, this is the current situation in Thailand.
Good. Sounds like things are starting to progress. When we first started, we only had a small number of universities come to our training. Eventually, over time, we got more and more interest in the federation, and just started to snowball and grow and grow and grow. So I hope the same happens for you guys.
Thank you. And thank you, Terry, for the introduction during our tutorial too. Yeah.
Most welcome. I'm happy to do that for anybody who wants to have us come and talk at a presentation or tutorial virtually. Okay, thank you, Pensri. Good update. Okay, next, Binyaki, B-I-N-A-Y-A-K. Sorry about pronunciations. I'm not very good with these things, but Binyaki, where are you from? Let's see.
Well, hello, good morning.
There he is. Good.
So it is pronounced as Binayak.
All right, thank you. Are you from Nepal as well?
So in my case, I work in a data space in Nepal.
Yep.
So it was the first data space of Nepal. For the certain time, it was in our data space, but now it has grown up to the leads and it is named as Access World, where we do not have any access due to the different office. So all the servers of our data space was shifted to the Access World. So we are left over with some of the few servers of the organizations which we are handling. More than telling handling, we are giving them the security till now. Since I've joined this field few months ago, so I'm in phase of learning the work, learning the
coming up to speed.
Yes, sir.
You're coming up to speed. You're just yep.
I'm just a beginner learner of the data space. So I do not have more knowledge on the data space. Just I have that we have less server that we are handling or giving the security in Nepal. So thank you.
The data service you're offering, is that shared across your universities?
No. It's just for our offices and some of the organizations. So mainly now it is used for the internet connections for the distributions. The data space is used for the distribution of the internet. So many ISPs of our country uses the space to distribute their internet access.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, who have we got next? Let's see. Okay, Lim Priya or Pri, Jinan. Where is someone from? It's Liam. Liam, are you there? Must be unmute. No one there. Okay, Leonel, Leonel.
Is this Lionel from
Lionel.
Mozambique?
Yes, that would be useful.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. Sorry, it's still 3 a.m. here in Mozambique.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm attending because I need to, we need to learn more about this. Yes, my name is Lionel Nyaven from Moronet. Moronet is the Mozambique Research and Education Network. In terms of development of the federation identity, we started our the work to implement the federation in 2017. So far, we have only implemented the federation on inside. I mean, in the core network, in Moronet core network, we still haven't expanded this to the institutions. So the institutions are not using it because all the team who was working on this project left the institution, left Moronet. That's why we had to stop the development of our federation. Yeah, so I'm here to learn more and try to continue the job that my colleagues were doing to implement the federation. Thank you.
So you guys have been around for a little while, but had to fold up because of a change of staff. I think I've done some work with some of you. Someone in Moronet a while ago. Anyway, all the best. Hopefully our training will help you get a little bit better understanding, but unfortunately we can't invite you to Singapore because you're not within the Asia Pacific region. But happy to have you on board anyway. Let's go back to Japan. We've got Saki, E-I-S-A-K-U, Sakane.
Yeah, good morning. I will share my slide.
Okay, cool.
Can you see my slide?
Yep, looking good.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk talking about federation update. And in this presentation, and I'm going to talk about Gakunin Academic Identity and Access Management Federation, and UPK Certification Service, and finally, I will make a brief update of EDROM JP. So first, Gakunin statistics. So currently we have 274 identity providers, and which included a little since previous meetings. And I'm talking about the topic of Gakunin. So currently we are discussing of a new trust framework for research communities and in Japan. So and we organized a working group for the next generation of Identity Access Management Federation, and we had the results of the working group like this, and we made the proposals which is the operation policies of identity assurance level 2 on the authenticator assurance level 2 in the next generation of Gakunin in Japanese. And also we made a credential policy and credential practices statement sample. And also we have translated these documents in English. And currently we are, the proposals and credential policy and the credential practice statement sample being reviewed by stakeholders. Liken, NIMS RCOS HPCI, and in the famous institution or project in Japan. And we are discussing the interoperability with the existing trust frameworks such as the FEDS and IGTF. So, first, I am considering the interoperability with our proposals and with IGTF assurance authentication assurance profile. And also we are conducting experiments in the implementation of new trust framework and evaluating the results. For example, we are discussing the implementation of assurance, authenticator assurance level 2 in SAML or using Shibboleth implementation or Microsoft Azure. And I'm talking about software development in NRI. So we provide MAP Core, which is a member attribute provider and support management group in cyberspace. So now we have developed API for MAP Core version 2, and we are evaluating this API with some colleagues in Japan. And also we are developing authentication proxy service called Ortros. This service supports supports the new Gakunin Trust framework in previous slide, described in previous slide. And these services can bridge between identity providers and service providers. And also this service is enabling LL matching or credential bridging. For example, credential from access token issued by some OpenID provider to some assertion. And also these services can handle some attributes and also can endure such attribute. And we have already connected with the following identity providers and GBizID, which is identity framework and provided by Japanese government for business services. And also LINE and Yahoo Japan and famous social network services, Twitter and Facebook, and also Orchid. And in these all currently these identity providers is connected in experimental stage. And we plan to start operating the service Orthros in this fiscal year. And a small start, which provide some essential services. Next, I'm talking about the UPK certification services. Currently, we have published 374 organizations as of last month. And we support 500 domains, and we had the following supported types of certificate, that is OV service server certificate, client or SMIM certificate, code signing certificate, and EB server certificate provided by a separate CA from certificate authorities that issued above. Also, all certificates issued by UPK services are public. The root CA is operated by the second trust systems. And this current service will be provided to next fiscal year. And finally, I'm talking about the Azure JP activities. So currently we have 348 organization participants, and which included the lead since previous meeting. And Azure JP currently provides two identity provider services. And the first, we provided called Azure JP federated ID services, which can issue an Azure account with Gakuni IDP actually, and with some assertion, some credential. And also, we provide a delegate authentication system, which is an simple Azure IDP hosting services. So, and I'm talking about the topic of Azure JP. So currently, we are developing the support for open roaming in Azure JP. And actually, so integration, we are discussing integration model with open roaming and Azure JP with respect to authentication collaboration. And also, we made support for creating an institution data set of Azure DP, and this service is actually this service is to provide a spreadsheet for institution roaming operator. And such a spreadsheet enables staff to easily input the data without XML knowledge, and also to manage information about Azure service locations. And also, we have developed a data converter from the spreadsheet to XML format. And this slide show a web user interface and support for creating an institution data set. And sorry, currently we provide only Japanese web user interface, and this indicates the registered data set file. And these services can provide a template for providing a template for an institution roaming operator. And also the template is suitable for the organization. And also this services provide right revision management, and also roaming operator can confirm the result of translation, the result of translation from spreadsheet to XML, and also roaming operator can view the history of uploading datasets. So the summary, so we have introduced the topic of the following three projects, and if you are interested in the above projects, please contact me or visit our homepage. That's all, thank you.
Thanks very much. That's very interesting to see where Japan has got to with their federation. I'd personally be interested in having a look at your IAL and AAL2 policies and your password credentialing proposals as well. That's something that we're working on in Australia at the moment. I've also got a question about your Orthos service. It seems to be a proxy that allows for higher levels of, or does multi-factor authentication for the user. Is that what it does, or is it just a proxy sort of hub and spoke type setup?
Authentication profile services provide some user interface to a user. So user can register to user information to our services. And authentication proxy services also can handle so can check check the identity assurance level of identity provider, and also can understand the requirement from service provider about authenticator assurance level. And is this your answer?
I think so.
Sorry.
Yeah. And does it allow for proxying a service which is an OpenID Connect service to connect?
I didn't connect. Sorry.
An OpenID Connect or an OIDC service connect to your proxy?
OIDC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yes. So our proxy services can connect some OpenID provider, which is some access token, and and so indirectly, so our services can connect some OpenID providers and service provider in some world.
Cool. Okay, thanks very much for your update. It was really interesting. Thank you.
Okay. I will make a report for in details and next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Who haven't we seen yet? Let's have an update from the team from Malaysia. It's Farhan and APAN.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Give me a moment. All right, can you see my slide?
Yep.
All right. So, good morning, everyone. So, my name is Farhan from Sifulan Malaysian Access Federation, and I would like to provide some updates from our federation. So, just a bit brief about Sifulan. So, our name is Sifulan Malaysian Access Federation, but sometimes here in Malaysia, people just call it Sifulan in a short form. And then currently we have 4 staff that operates Identity Federation services in Malaysia. So these are some tools and services that we have. Is quite common tools and services that most of the identity provider provides. Okay. And then for our member, the IDP background, at the moment, we still pretty much focus on higher education, such as university, technical and further education institution, vocational training institution, and among others. But recently, we just got awarded a project to set up Identity Federation for 141 technical and further for polytechnic and community college in Malaysia. So the project will start next month, and hopefully by the end of the year we will have about 141 new IDP in our federation. So we are hoping that other organization types such as lower education or K-12 will be able to join our federation as well. But the reason is because they belong to different ministry of education. So it maybe takes time to approach them. Okay. All right. So now some of our activities is we in terms for implementation. Majority of IDP has migrated to Sifulan EID, which is our IDP as a service, either as a service or cloud and also on-prem. So recently we have inquiry for on-prem setup. So basically we're using the same technology which is based on the cloud native. And also Sifulan is also involved in the development of eduroam in Malaysia. So we have completed the migration of the eduroam and NRO infrastructure to a cloud native setup, and it's been running for like 4 or 5 months. It works well, although there are some hiccup, but we managed to solve it. And then, of course, we continuously do awareness about the Identity Federation. It's not easy, by the way, to explain what is Identity Federation to the community. Okay, so yeah, that is the challenge that we found. So we need to find a creative way to explain what is Identity Federation. Okay, so and then we also promote the EduVPN as an alternative VPN software to the research and education community. In fact, earlier this year we had a national EduVPN training. So we managed to set up EduVPN at several universities. Okay. And also we currently the X-Men project committee members. So some of Sifulan technologies or implementation experience will be shared with the project members as well, project participant member. So about Sifulan EID is a fast, easy and fast experience set up, basically to help organization to set up Sibulet IDP in the institution. So it designed and developed entirely using cloud native solution, and it supports existing directory service such as Azure AD, ADFS, or LDAP compatible software, and also Google Cloud Directory Service. Okay, so I think for our colleague from Cambodia, if you're looking for identity federation integration with Office 365/AD, we have the solution to do so. Okay. Well, it depends whether you want to use Sibolet to log in to Office 365 or use Azure AD as your IDP and use Sibolet as the proxy to connect to identity federation. We have both use cases. And then, so for organization that doesn't have their own directory services, we also have a solution for that called Vikings, which is the identity management portal for small organization to manage their users. So Sifulan EID is significantly cut down the deployment, development, and maintenance time because it's provided as a service. So most of the maintenance of the IDP is by us. Okay, and interest from organization to join federation rose significantly due to the minimal requirement and impact from and to the existing infrastructure. In fact, we are going to present this update at the upcoming technology updates for university in Malaysia next week. And so we are pushing the adoption of Sifulan EID to the existing and future federation members instead of the traditional on-prem. What I mean is you set up the, because previously we have installer kit which not based on cloud native. So the new one, for even for the on-prem, we will deploy as a cloud native solution. So we also doing some experiment of integration of eduroam and also identity federation. So first we migrated eduroam infrastructure in a cloud native environment. It works well, although with certain limitation, but currently the limitation is getting smaller. Okay, the gap is getting narrow. So currently in further testing before the service is rolled out, and also recently we launched the get.eduroam.my service as a pilot that I will present shortly after this slide. So my second presentation is about the
just before you go on,
Yep.
Farhan, there's
Yep.
one question in the chat. Do we require additional licenses for Azure AD?
No, you don't.
Okay.
You don't.
And the other point I'd just like to highlight is about awareness, and it's difficult even with a mature federation like ours.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably in Japan as well, which is a mature, just keeping people up to date. And with the staff turnover, leadership turnover, it's just always very difficult to keep it in front of mind of your users about the benefit of federation.
Yeah, even until now, I even couldn't put like what is identity federation in one brief sentence. Like for like eduroam, I can say, oh, okay, this is for Wi-Fi authentication, roaming, something. Oh, okay. So I mean, eduroam I can put in one sentence, but identity federation is complicated. I cannot put in one sentence.
Which makes it hard to sell, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But probably the closer is use some analogy, but sometimes they can pick up, sometimes they're not. And also there is a tendency that people think, oh, okay, identity federation is for library. Actually, it's not only for library, even though library is the probably the biggest use case of identity federation, but they are not the only use case. There are some more. So that's something that we work on as well. So yeah, I mean, it has some drawback when we promoting a Sifulan, because oh, okay, this is, it looks like for library. So I mean, they put the decision to the library. The folks say, wait, they have some, even though not that ideal, but it works. So that is different story. So it means the university need to look as a whole rather than only partial use case.
You had another presentation?
Yeah, I do just a brief one about the get my service. So I understand that there are some challenge in setting up or managing eduroam IDP. Okay, so this is based on the input that I got. So, well, managing an eduroam IDP or Redis server can be a non-trivial task, although there are some like a rapid deployment tools or some other solution that can make it easier, but it needs certain level of expertise and understanding about the network and also authentication in order to manage eduroam IDP successfully. So particularly in our organization does not have an expert in Redis setup or have a limited number of IT staff, or the current infrastructure setup is not ideal to run eduroam IDP, such as no or limited public IP, or doesn't have enough servers, unsupported user database or directory, and among others. So to overcome this situation, we developed the get.eduroam.my service to help organization to be part of the eduroam community. So the get.eduroam.my service is an eduroam IDP as a service where organization who would like to provide eduroam service to the user doesn't have to operate eduroam IDP on their own. So instead, they can visit the website and obtain an eduroam credential by using their identity federation. So currently only limited to Sifulan Federation members. And this will reduce organization overhead as they just need to set up and operate eduroam SP only, that is relatively easy to set up and maintain. So the get eduroam.my service support for major operating system, Apple devices, Android, Windows, and Linux. The get eduroam.my service is provided and supported by Sifulan and free to use for Sifulan Federation members. So this is the interface. So it's only very simple tree interface only, where the users can obtain the eduroam credentials. So first, they need to visit the website and click get started. So after that, they need to perform authentication by using identity federation. So after that, then they can download the eduroam profile and configure it as download the eduroam credential and download the profile according to their devices. Okay, so currently it's supported for Android, Apple device, Linux, and Windows. So the credential that we provide is valid for 90 days. So after 90 days, then they need to re-download or regenerate the credential and profile for the devices. So it's based on the EFTLS. So we use X5 and certificate as eduroam credential valid for 90 days. And then the user are identified by a realm at get.eduroam.my. But if some organization would like to have same service, but with the realm, then it will be different arrangement. Oh, okay, thank you.
Right. Thanks, Farhan. Good update. I assume some of this technology will be made available as part of the iFire
Yeah,
Expand project.
yeah. I think for the get drone will be deployed during the workshop at Nepal, the next APAN 55.
Okay.
So for the APNIC 54, we'll be focused on setting up the Federation Operator Core Infra, which is Federation Manager, Discovery Service, and also setting up IGP as a service. That's the focus for the upcoming training at Singapore. So for this ADROM service will be at the Nepal.
Okay, thanks.
All right, welcome.
Okay, moving on. Eric Yen from Thailand. Sorry, not Thailand, Taiwan. Do you want to give us a quick update of what's happening in your space?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thanks, Eric.
Yep. This is Eric here from Academia Sinica, Taiwan. Just very brief updates about the status. Thank you so much for Terry and everyone here. In Taiwan, because of the WCG, the direction is to set up the IAM as the WCG decided solution for the new AAI infrastructure. So it's been deployed in Academia Sinica, and also based on this framework to serving as the new AAI for the whole campus, for the whole over 30 institutes in Academia Sinica. And based on that, we hope to extend to other collaborating university and institutes in Taiwan as the one of the foundations for the Taiwan Federation. The other direction is that we've been collaborating with EGI for many years, more than decades. So we are also wondering if there are solutions to be interoperable, to have interoperability solution between the IAM and also the check-in. Apparently, the refits, the edge game based framework should be a very good infrastructures for these requirements. So that's one of our key tasks in the future years. Of course, we also need experiences from the IAM group in APAN, based on your the great support from Terry, from Brooke, from the refits and other partners in Asia Pacific here. So that's a very short updates from Taiwan. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Good to see you still moving forward and looking at doing identity federation. Raj from India has asked to go next. So Raj, over to you. This may take us through to lunch. We'll see how we go.
Hi Terry. I hope everybody is good.
Thanks, Raj. We're good.
Yes, great all the time. Yeah, good morning to everyone. I'm myself Raja Vishwanathan. I'm working as a federation operator. My destination is scientist C, computer science. We are from InfluNet Center. It is part of Inter-University Center of University Grants Commission, Ministry of Education, under Ministry of Education. Here, India, we are running a federation. It is Indian Access Management Federation. Here we have some of the updates. I hope everybody can see my slide. Yeah, at present, total number of institutions signed membership with us, like 214 institutions, which includes majority of the centrally funded technical institutions like Indian Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Technologies, Indian Institute of Management, National Institute of Technology, and many more government funded direct universities and state funded universities. And at present, directly, we have 43 service providers signed membership with us, like LCVR, and Taylor and Francis, Wiley, and other publishers, apart from inter-federation publishers. Like so many publishers, without their signing membership directly with INFED, they are offering services to us. And these are all our category-wise institutions like Central University 21 and Indian Institute of National Importance, deemed universities, government institutions, private institutions, state private university, like that. These are all the categories of our institutions. And right now we are working for Indian access Indian proxy. Proxy means, as you are all aware that each and every meeting I used to discuss, and some of the publishers do not want to join, do not want to provide their services through SSO, even Shibboleth based services they do not want to offer. They are playing monopoly to them, like our institutions. Because of this particular issue, institutions do not want to join our INFED access INFED services. Like they wanted to give, they wanted to go for third-party proxy services. See, we are mainly focusing in India for the purpose of remote access of their services. Some of the institutions are using the original purpose of identity provider, like they are integrating their local applications, and they are integrating with their external application to avail single sign-on. And predominantly in India, especially as an INFLINet, we are the service provider. We are purchasing e-material, e-resources, databases on behalf of all the universities and the institutions and research and education institutions in India, funded by Ministry of Education. And we will distribute the resources based upon their intellectual output, how much they are producing research article and patent, so on. And the major vakuna of the Shibboleth SSO is publisher has to provide Shibboleth based access. Otherwise, institution will not able to get access of their resources remotely. We try to convince them, but some of the publishers do not want to provide. Even we are ready to give all kind of assistance. So we need to, we are in force to develop the proxy system. Even though we set up IDP in Shibboleth SSO, Shibboleth IDP in the institutions, and to access those publishers do not want to offer Shibboleth based SSO, we need to set up this proxy. We are almost through, and we are in the process of testing mode. And like EPW, Economical Political Weekly, and Manupatra, and Indian Stats, Indian Stats, and 2-3 other publishers. They are very much important for doing research, like regional based research in India. And we are in the process. And right now, again, we have earlier until 3-4 years, we are having only 1 manpower. I was working with INFED, and right now we have total 4 manpower for Indian Access Management Federation. And we are also offering IDP as a service. Like we have our own private cloud. We got some fund, and we set up our own server, and we are getting some revenue through IDP as a service. We are not charging any money from the institutions for the purpose of membership fees. And as I said, we are developing hybrid model in proxy, Indian proxy, as well as Shibboleth IDP. Both will be set up in a single system. Whatever the publisher having Shibboleth based SSO, institution will access Shibboleth based Shibboleth IDP based access. If they do not have, then the same system will work as a proxy, and they will get into the publishers. Ultimately, our aim is to provide 100% access of their e-resources. And many Indian publishers is approaching to set up SP for them. Like some of them is not ready to do that, and approaching government data repositories such as Delnet and other government repositories. Still, it is closed access to very limited institution with the username password, and we are asking them to set up Shibboleth based access. And through that, they will be easily identified in our Indian based research and education institutions. And we are asking them to open for education institutions also. It is in the process now. Thank you. We will meet in FNIC 54 at Singapore. Any queries?
Thanks, Raj. It's great to see how far India's come forward with their federation under your leadership, and good to see you're going to have a bigger team. It's always great to see a bigger team, and you're doing a great job down there. I like your proxy. I'd be very interested to get more details about how that's set up and how you configure it and work it into your federation as an option for services to connect to your users.
See, actually in India, INFED is not growing. It is stagnant now because it was in the initial phase. It was growing like enormous growth of INFED. Now it is stagnant because this third-party vendor like RemoteX and Remote Log and Easy Proxy, people are pointing out this is the drawback of INFED. See, in India, they are focusing on remote access only, and this is the reason we are in the development of proxy. Hope November is our target, and we have 3 people are working dedicatedly for this project. Let us see.
Okay, thanks, Raj. Next, how much time we got? 10 minutes before we have a break.
Yeah, sorry, there is a question from.
Oh, sorry, yep.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, Brooke Sheffield. Any possibility of changing the mind of publishers? Yeah, see, we are a government entity. See, we have a consortium. Like, who want to be a part of that consortium? Like, if they come and join in our consortium, on a single place, they will get thousands of institution subscription. Like, they don't want to go each and every institution individually. There we are putting one class, one pre-qualification criteria. If they want to be a part of our consortium, we are asking them, are you comply with Sibolat SSO or any kind of SSO based access you need to offer? That is the reason we can control by force. And some monopoly, like without their database, they cannot do research in law kind of research in India. That is Manupatra. I'm openly telling. They are very much rigid. They said, no, we are not able to provide. Still, if any other suggestion is also welcome, and we can use that particular tactics to bring them.
So I think also this remote access you talk of is, do you mean IP-based authorization? So in effect, they only do IP-based authorization. So
yes.
Based on the IP, yeah. Which is simple and also doesn't work if you,
Yes, exactly.
They're only doing V4, and India, at least on mobile, has heavily moved to IPv6.
Yes, great. So obviously, yeah, this is the way I can pull them pull into INFED. Yes, in case of IP version 6 will come in used by all the institutions. Then they are enforced to move to SSO based authentication. I understand. Thank you. This is good method.
Anything else for Raj? Right, looking forward to seeing you in September, Raj, in Singapore.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Bangladesh. That'll be the last one before we have a half-hour break for morning tea, lunch, whatever we're into. So someone from Bangladesh, I see we have a few attending. Here we go. So, anyone from Bangladesh want to talk? Otherwise, we can move on. Nope. Let's see. So, Indonesia. Indonesia. Basuki.
Yeah. Actually, Andre will present, but I don't know. But I didn't prepare the slide. But okay, roughly. Okay, right now in Indonesia, we still develop for the rooms increase the not only the capacity but the members of room. One of the problems with the room problem in Indonesia, because the Wi-Fi is not really standard, especially in 1X. So this is we try to develop and then we try to disseminate how to set up the 1x even using like single person or single Wi-Fi, not using the controller. Yeah, right now we still try develop, and then in some cases we have successful. And right now the members of EduRoam is around 30 university. Yeah, but sometimes they are not active. They just put in one access point. Maybe that's one thing. And then we still we have in Indonesia still a different gap of the knowledge. So we try to make some classification among the basic network, among the basic access network, among even the Wi-Fi. Sometimes they say, not sometimes, they say that, oh, we have a Wi-Fi. But when we try to have like the 1x capability, they don't have this. And then they are try to try to have 1x capability. Maybe the next year, many universities will be joined because right now they are purchased with the new equipment. That's what's I can tell. Maybe, but the detail maybe Angie will give us some report. Thank you, Terry.
Okay, thank you, Basuki. We now have 6 minutes before break time, so I'm just going to call on Toby or Patrick from Hong Kong to give their quick update.
Hi, Terry. Long time no see.
Yep, it's been a while.
I didn't expect to speak today. Sorry, didn't have much preparation. Actually, I want to. Actually, I'm not actually now the conveyor for the Hong Access Federation, but we see that in the past year we didn't have very much expansion on the whole federation. Mainly, I can say we are keeping everything as normal at this moment. Everything just keep on. Existing applications still working. And for my university, we have been working in the past year. We have been adding quite a few the publisher through the network for our library to use. That's what we are doing quite a lot in the last year. Yeah. Other than that, it's just keeping everything normal, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Toby. I occasionally get messages from your Federation registry tool saying that there's a new service or new person joining your Federation.
There's no new member at this moment. Before that, we have been talking about, I remember last year, right? We have been talking about this blockchain initiative they're working on for the in another group of people. So they are working on doing some academic certificates, putting them on the blockchain, and somehow I don't know the detail, but somehow they wanted to use the Hong Access Federation for the authentication. But just one point, they made a survey to us and asked about what user we are supporting. What they were talking about is they want to serve current students and as well as alumni. But not all the members for the Federation serve alumni. Sometimes some of them they didn't put in there. So I'm not sure they will use other methods to serve them, because I can say that they mainly want to serve alumni actually, because what they want to do is to help those graduates to use this network, the blockchain, to link up with the employers. Yeah, to prove their certificates. Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering what the use case for blockchain was in the Identity Federation space.
Yeah.
It pops up every so often that, oh, we're going to do blockchain. Blockchain for what?
Yeah.
They were doing something similar to that in Australia. And like the Uni of Tas was going to publish people with degrees in the blockchain. Wonderful. But they were going to assert that Brooks Schofield has a degree from the School of Computing, an honours degree and a degree from the School of Applied Computing. They were not going to assert who Brooks Schofield was. So it was basically a public published list, and I could claim that, like, because that is me, but there was no linking information other than a public record that someone had graduated. And so without the identity backend to all of the people, this blockchain service, remember, you can replace blockchain with, you know, Google Sheet online, right? Because in effect, that's what it is. It's an append-only Google spreadsheet. And so there was limited value in the effort that Australian unis were going down that path. But everyone loves blockchain, right? Except now that because it's a Ponzi scheme, and if you're using it for money, you can only put money in, you can never take money out. As soon as you take money out, the market falls out of blockchain. So
I don't like
it doesn't have a, yeah, it doesn't actually have a, it's a solution looking for a problem, and it's not found a problem.
Oh yeah, it's correct. It's somehow like they want to make a circle of trust, but for me, I think there's other solution, because all the universities are accredited, so everyone trusts us. Why we still need a blockchain? That's another topic. Yeah.
I mean, it's likely, I mean, you have an archives office, I think, right? Like in Australia, we call it births, deaths, and marriages. What you could do is you could store in that archive the same public notary information. Because at least annually, the university publishes the schedule of the graduation ceremony. So I actually had a friend in the UK to come to Australia. He had to prove that he had a degree, but his university had changed from a polytechnic to a university.
Oh yeah.
And they had no records. The only records they had was the attendance list of the graduation and the awards they handed out at that graduation. And he was actually told by the university, pick the degree that you got when you attended this event.
Yeah, I also have a friend who have a similar situation. She did a remote study many years ago, and now she needs to get a job, but the original university is already closed. So nothing she can do. Yeah.
Right, so that's that brings us up to the halfway point of today. So it's time for a half-hour break. I'm not sure. I think we keep going on this particular channel. With our support person.
Terry, hello.
Hello.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. Is that okay if I ask you a question? Maybe it could be a stupid one, but if it's okay. The other day I watched recordings of TNC 2020 and found out quite an interesting topic, which is called SSI, self-sovereign identity. Is that activity have any, does that have any relevance with your activity? If not, any movement in our community?
I haven't seen any movement in our community. I've seen it happening in Europe a fair bit. There's a few places doing it in Europe, but nothing I've noticed in the Asia Pacific region.
Okay.
Something you want to fund us to do? Brooks looking for money.
Yeah. Well, equally, I won't take it on the self-sovereign identity, but if you're a Church of Latter-day Sainter, they have a very big IT infrastructure. And part of their goal is to track the entire population of the earth back to Jesus Christ. And as such, they invest a lot of money into self-sovereign identity because you need to track identities going forward as you do research to link identities going backward. And that's why Novell's headquarters moved to Provo in Utah to support the endeavor of the church, making really big directories of everyone on the planet. But self-sovereign identity is not dissimilar to identity federations because it has gatekeepers on who can assert identities. So those identity federations are the same gatekeepers. So it's not an entirely distributed free-for-all blockchain. It's a blockchain with permission to enter it. So yeah, I see it as being no different to identity federations in that game.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the kind explanation. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to call a break now for half an hour. Back at 1 o'clock our local time in Brisbane, and that'll be 2 hours earlier. It should be 11 o'clock.
Terry, should we log out and log in again later, or?
I'm just going to leave my session open and see if it stays here. If not, I'll come back.
Okay, all right.
We'll stop my. And I think if people just want to chat in this window, I think this is a great opportunity to we just leave it open and people can chat if they so choose, or you can head off and get some lunch or morning tea or afternoon tea, depending on where you're at, or breakfast for people in Mozambique.
Okay. Okay. Before just a quick announcement. So if there is a IFIR-XMEN training participant in this room, so please register to APNIC 54. Yes, correct. Is it 54? 55. 54 website as soon as possible if you haven't done so for the IFIR-XMEN recipient or participant. Thank you.